Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host Bryan. We're going to wrap up today with a brand new song. This one only came out a couple of days ago. I think the audio came out a while ago, maybe last week or so, but the music video dropped this week. So I'm always stoked to check out more from Yvette Young. That's what we're going to dive into today. The song is called Always. So let's jump in, see what Yvette is bringing to the table today. Okay. That's a fun key. It's very light and playful, but there's a wistfulness to it. That compressed clapping. So many things going on. Lots of reverb too. That second vocal line was wild. I wonder if it was pitch shifted. It matched some of her vocal characteristics. Tons of layering in here though. And the wide reverb allows everything to really get layered up heavy. Very tightly compressed guitar work here. Very legato as well, very slidey style. I was gonna say we don't get a lot of the tapping stuff that I know Yvette for, but we did have some stuff over here as ornamentation. Speaking of over here, the placement of these vocals, the chimes. Even the vocals are kind of slidey, just like the guitar. A lot of slurring into notes. Some really beautiful guitar ornamentation here. The bells are a nice touch as well. A lot of offbeat syncopation in this. It gives it a bouncy feel, despite generally I'm not thinking a bouncy song. The detuning there. It's like a warble. It's not really detuning as much as like tape distortion. Yeah, very cool song. Though I will say it is a bit unexpected, which I think makes it even funner. I know Yvette Young for very math rock stuff with the band Covet, and I checked out Covet's latest album, and I know they kind of deviated a little bit away from that and did some experimentation and some exploration um, of their sound and seeing where they can take it. But I don't recall anything like this on it. It's a very it's shoegaze, almost feels very 80s looking back to that sound, especially with the heavy reverb on everything. While also being very modern, though. A lot of the production here is very clean. There's a ton of electronic layering going on. It is definitely something that is of its time while looking back. I find it to be very cool. Where should we start on this? Atmosphere, I suppose. That's really the key thing here. It's hard to say key thing though, right? Because it's not. It's a multifaceted track, and I think that's what really makes it stand out to me. We'll start with atmosphere, anyways. We'll circle around to stuff, as we do. We'll just see where my brain takes me. Um, all right. So atmosphere. We have reverb on everything. The guitar has reverb. Vocals have reverb. Drums, they have reverb. Things in the background, ornamental stuff. There's reverb on that as well. I don't think there is any reverb put on the full mix though. There is a clarity, a definition where sounds begin and end compared to each other, but the sounds themselves continue to echo out. And so we do have this individual reverb on everything that makes everything sound really hazy. It is, I think, the defining element of the song is the slight bit of compression on the guitars with the haze everywhere that makes it really difficult to find hard lines of where things begin and end. In fact, there was one part where I even brought this up that all of the vocal lines having so much reverb allows them, even when the vocalist has stopped singing, to begin another line. The first line is still existing in the space. And so we're harmonizing with ourselves without having to do backing tracks. Although I'd wager that each section is still its own take. So it's not like a live looping thing. But anyways, the end result is that it feels like she's harmonizing with herself because of the resonant element of every line. And like I said, it gives everything a hazy feeling. It's tough to find the details in things. This is something that shoegaze does very well, as does, well, I guess even black metal, not with reverb, but still with creating a wall of sound to remove detail. But what I find really interesting here, though, is again, despite I don't want to use the word muddy, that's usually the word I would use, but the details being obscured through the reverb, it's still a very clear, clean production. I can hear every instrument, I can hear every vocal line. Everything comes through with a crispness, even though there is this fuzziness around the edges. That doesn't work. That description fails. You can't have something with crisp detail and fuzzy line work. That's just fuzzy detail as well. And yet this works. I don't know. I don't get it. It shouldn't work, but it does. It is crisply vague. Does that make sense? No. Yvette's. I don't know if Yvette produced this or not. Do we have mixed by Will John? Oh, produced by Yvette Young. Yeah. So, well, Yvette Young, Will Johnson, and Ali Lacey. Yeah, I mean, the three of them deserve a ton of a nice round of applause, I suppose, a ton of praise for the production on this. Because it's one thing to write the layers, but it's another thing to create this mixed feeling through it all. I find that to be wildly, I don't know, contradictory in the best kind of way. So if the production is very hazy, though, the other thing I want to bring up is something I noticed right off the bat. I think it was my first comment. Is the key, the mode, maybe? I saw we were using a capo, so we're bringing up the root notes. But there's something very interesting. And it could have to do with the tuning of the guitar, too. I know, I mean, there's a lot of math rock players out there who just use wildest guitar tunings. I don't know if Yvette's one of those, just to kind of change the tuning up on every song. It always seemed very tedious to me. It's one thing to change it to record it, but then you got to have like 6 guitars with you when you. Well, you'd have to tune guitars between songs live. I don't know. Like I said, it seems kind of tedious. Whatever. That's way off topic here. Let me get back on track. All right. So the key that we're in, it's very cool. I don't know what it is. The capo brings up the lowest note, so everything feels very brighter and higher pitched because of it. We don't really have any tones in here that really resonate with a big low end to it. But despite the brightness of the range, and I'd even say the brightness of the tone of the guitar, it's very plucky and happy. There is a wistfulness in the chord progression and the harmony of it. It's not negative. I wouldn't say it's melancholic. There is a tinge of sadness, just something to bring it down a little bit, but it's more about balancing out the brightness more so than I think implying a sadness or a darkness. But there is a longing for something. There is a want. There is a need. And I really love that. Because when you mix that with the haziness, it kind of brings this idea of memory and maybe not regret, but wishing things had gone a different way. It could also just be the idea of sitting in a memory, maybe a good one that you wish you could go back to. That's what the song feels like to me. Every moment of it, every second is just this want for something other than the present, or a want for something other than reality. And it comes from a combination of the harmony and the production. And I think it's a wonderful combination of ideas there. But beyond that, we also have the playing. What does the melody tell us? And what I found really interesting is that, like I said with Yvette, I'm usually expecting tapping. Some intricate lines, very mathy style, lots of multi-finger tapping and playfulness, and we don't really get that. The guitar work is at least what's focused in the center channel and with the most amount of spotlight put on it. It's a bit muted. A lot of chordal work there. It took me a while until I could turn my attention to the outsides of the song because it's so dense in the middle. All the layers and the reverb, you can get lost in that. Much like you can get lost in Good Memories. Bringing that back. All right. What's on the outside of the song, though? This is where the ornamentation happens. This is where we find those guitar licks that I was looking for. And it's not just the guitar, which I think is pretty awesome, too. Again, I don't know a lot of Yvette's solo work, so all of this is very surprising to me. But we do have some faster, pluckier, mathier guitar licks on the outside. Quick little runs. Rather than these reverb-soaked chords, there's a bit more definition to the attack of the note and stuff like that. We have faster ideas. We bring in some eighth notes, little bit of 16th notes. Do we have 16th notes in that? Anyways, we had some faster notes in there. Cool little runs, but this was also transposed to other instruments as well. I don't know if it was one-to-one, like some sort of a call and response or an echo or something like that. But I would probably wager that many of these ideas were originally written on guitar and then recorded on anything else, including chimes and bells and what else did I hear in there? I don't remember. There were some other instruments though. And I found it awesome that we could have these plucky, faster moving ideas within this sense of longing to create this twinkling brightness on the outskirts of it. And it wasn't just the guitar. We get the bright shimmer of like a glockenspiel in here too, like little stars creating beauty outside of this hazy nowhere land. Um, and it's just such an evocative picture that's painted. It ends up working really well. Here's another thing that works to its advantage as well. Can y'all name me the structure of this song? Yeah, I can't. If I had to guess, I vaguely heard something that I would say was probably a chorus. Knowing Yvette's other work, probably works with a verse, chorus structure. But I'm not entirely sure because the atmosphere is stagnant. What I picked up on mostly were large, sweeping changes to that when we had ornamentation that came in and broke some of the reverb with some brighter ideas, or where the pitch was, I think, shifted down to create a second vocal style. But as far as the music, it all feels like one long A section to me. Minor variations here and there, but no large sweeping changes to it. The idea, once again, of being stuck somewhere, possibly in a memory, creating this feeling of longing or the sense of wanting, it all comes together. And the song tells this. I really hope we get to the lyrics and it just completely solidifies everything I'm feeling here. Because the music is all working together to tell this one idea, and I think it is. It just works together very well in not even just an artistic version of thematically cohesive writing, but also it is a very catchy, lighthearted, palatable poppy song. It's done with the guitar and drums and well, I guess the rest is probably libraries. Although don't hold me on that. For all I know, Yvette has a glockenspiel and some chimes lying around, and they recorded those. um, but despite the rock band's foundation to the middle of the song, it's a pop track, and it's very palatable from that angle. But again, it has the artistic integrity behind it too. Everything is designed to hyper focus on this one aesthetic and trying to maximize as much of the song's efficiency at delivering that story. And it does so fantastically. Um Dang, I just thought of something too and I was like, I gotta bring that up, and then I forgot what it was. Um Lyrics, which we'll get to in a second. Oh, yeah. The last two things. One is the drums. Just going to go over this real quick. They are super compressed, really tiny claustrophobic drum work or drum production. I'm not really sure how to fit this into the overarching narrative I have with this. It could be the idea of a core to this haziness. Trying to extrapolate that into my memory metaphor, and it is not really working. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the sound either. It's just everything else is very open and hazy, and there's a looseness to the constraints of the sounds. Everything feels very wide open, and this one specific sound is very closed in, very compressed and constrained. I don't know how to interpret that. It sounds fine. I don't think the song would have been better. Definitely needed some sort of idea on it, and I guess the hazy drumming would not work. You would not want all that reverb on the drums with everything else the way that it is. That's not to say you can't use high reverb drumming, and plenty of bands have done it. But with everything as hazy as it is, you definitely want something with a bit more body and definition to it. And the drums definitely work. I think I don't know. It's the heavy compression on it. Maybe just a little less would have worked better for my ears. But at this point, we're reaching something subjective, so I'm just gonna move on. The guitar solo at the end was excellent. Not the type of guitar work I expect from Yvette again, but very tasteful, leaning into the idea of what does the song need more so than what can I do in the song. It's not about showing off skill. It's about extending the story away from the words and the atmosphere into a melody. And I think the guitar does a fantastic job of continuing on this idea of wistfulness. Although here we have a little bit of an upscoop. We create some additional positivity to it. I don't know if this is supposed to imply an acceptance that the past is something we can't go back to, or an acceptance of, whatever thing you're longing for, that you experienced it once, or that you can get it in the future, or maybe you really don't need it that badly. An acceptance of the fact that you aren't going to get what you want, whatever that might be, and just coming to terms with that and being able to move on, to get out of that haze, out of that wistful longing, and move on. That's kind of what the song says to me, at least. And I think the guitar solo is the perfect punctuation at the end of this paragraph of music. We set a tone, we tell a story, and we wrap it up, and it's all done very well. I'm going to find some lyrics for this one, and then we're going to wrap this video up. The lyrics have caused me to reevaluate what I just said about that guitar solo. I kind of want to take another listen to the song, but I'm just going to stick with the lyrics for right now. It is about being hurt in the past and having that hurt attempt to taint memories, good memories that are associated with the person that hurt you, but not really allowing it to. And almost going the opposite direction where you're almost willing to look past it. The opening verse says, "We try so hard to lock away the pain. Can we put the past away and take a chance on each other? We had it all for a moment in the sun. After all that's said and done, I still want you, but I gotta go." The second verse says, "Rainy days spent watching time slip through my fingertips, and I'll pull away. I'll tell myself it's better. Maybe now is not our time to be, but I can't deny that always." And this leads into the chorus, which generally says that I will always love you. That, you can't take that away from me. It says, "We'll always find each other. I'm always behind you because I'm still holding on." So the idea is, you may have hurt me in the past, and we are not going to revisit that relationship, but I still care about you. I'm still going to support you. We can't revisit anything emotional. And I like that. Well, no, I do like that, but I mentioned that wouldn't take a chance on a romantic side to the relationship again. I don't know if that's explicitly stated, though. I might have put a little bit of myself into that into that reading. Um, but yeah, it's about somebody hurting you, and you deciding that you still want to support them. You don't hate them. What they did sucked for sure, but we're all adults here, right? People can make mistakes. And we're also flawed, too. It almost sounds at points that she doesn't want to admit that she still cares about this person. I don't know, maybe I'm reading into that. Regardless, though, there is a bunch of wistfulness in this. of looking back into the past. Even the exact line, "Am I a fool for living in the memories?" This song is about, to me, living in a memory. It's an extended period of music that is very hazy and looking backwards. Yeah, dude, everything lines up on this. Yvette, Will, Ali, y'all absolutely. Ali? 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 I don't know if I've been pronouncing that wrong this whole time. I apologize if I have been. Um, y'all did an excellent job on this from the compositional standpoint, from the production standpoint, just bringing everything together to form a thematic, cohesive, artistic whole. I really enjoy this, and I'm looking forward to checking out more of what y'all are going to put out in the future. Those are my thoughts. Yvette Young's Always. What'd you think of this? Is there anything that stood out to you? Anything that you'd like to add on to what I said? Correct me on, give me your own perspective or interpretation on. Put all that stuff down in the comment section. Above that, in the description box, you'll find a link to Linktree. It takes you here. You can find links to my music, ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord server, and so much more. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all three of them. That wraps it up for this week. I'll be back tomorrow. We're going to check out a full album. That's at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC. As usual, those are like 3 to 4 hour videos. If you're going to come by when it drops, be prepared. Get comfy, grab snacks, water, whatever you need. We also have the live stream on Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. UTC. Chill, laid back, chit chat, have good conversation, listen to some good music. You know how it is. And if you don't know how it is, you should drop by and come learn how it is, because it is a very cool way to spend your Sunday. Alright, until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.